Hello out there in YouTube land, my name is Morris Man, and as always I thank you guys for viewing my channel. And today I'm going to do a special request video from subscriber Michaelo061. Hope I got the pronunciation right. I appreciate your comments and I appreciate all you guys' comments and support. And after this particular subscriber viewed my Rick James analysis video, his question was, so what do you think about Parliament and Funkadelics? What are your thoughts? And here it is. George Clinton was is a musical genius to me. I've had the pleasure of meeting Mr. Clinton on several occasions. George Clinton was born in 1941 in North Carolina, and in the late 50s, he formed a doo-wop group, which was inspired by, at the time, his favorite group at that time, which was Frankie Lyman and the Teenagers. And the name of the group that Mr. Clinton formed was called the Parliament. And in the 60s, they had a string of hits. Then at this point, George Clinton did something that was just totally unheard of at that time. He created a black rock band by the name of the Funkadelics. And the difference between the Parliament and the Funkadelics is this. The Funkadelics is more or less a black, quote-unquote, rock band. And the majority of their songs were politically charged for the time or era. During that era, those lyrics is based on what was going on in the world at that particular time. The Parliament, on the other hand, was a group that was inspired by James Brown and James Brown grooves. They more or less focus on concept of harmonies and vocals. So that's really the difference. And what's interesting about both groups that a lot of people don't realize, because as a kid, I used to read the album cover sleeves on everything that I used to listen to. And what's unique about Parliament Funkadelics were technically they were the same group. If you looked at the liner sleeves of musicians on each album, they were basically the same guys playing, which was again kind of unheard of, two groups, but basically one group playing two different styles of music. So that was very ingenious to me on Clinton's part. In the early 70s, George Clinton got together with Boosie. But let me mention this first. During the early period of his time in the 60s, George Clinton, for a short period of time, was also a staff songwriter for Motown. That's like with Rick James. But again, in the 70s, early 70s, he got together with Boosie Collins, who was a 17-year-old bass player at the time with James Brown Band. And they got together and created a string of hits. I mean, the hits was just plentiful. I mean, just, you know, these two guys got together and just created magic. And what's so cool and unique and innovative about George Clinton, Parliament, Funkadelics, Boosie was when they played in concert. The concept, it was kind of like a rock concert fused in with some R&B grooves, because during that time, the kind of concerts that they were putting, on was just extravagant, lavish, and just no one had done that before. Spaceships coming out of the sky, the little bird, the Bob Gun bird or whatever bird that was, and then the concepts of the good guy, the bad guy, Sir Knows devoid of funk, and just these characters that Clinton kind of put together. It was almost kind of like a comic book type of concept. And again, I can't say enough about George Clinton. I mean, I appreciate, and most of us, or all of us do, the contributions that he has given us as far as music concepts. I do believe that without the collective efforts of all of these extraordinary musicians like Bernie Royale, Boosie Collins, Catfish Collins, the list goes on, and I wish I knew every single musician that was a part of that, because I believe that all of them collectively made the Parliament Funkadelic experience what it was. They were exceptional, or are exceptional musicians. And I'm going to touch on this briefly because I'm going to do another video entirely based on this topic. And that topic is, where are the R&B bands of today? When I listen to the radio sparingly, I hear, solo artists, R. Kelly, Genuine, Neo, Chris Brown. These are basically solo artists. But where are the young 20-some-year-old black guys that have a band, that play guitar, piano, drums, and have a lead singer? The band that comes to mind as far as a recent quote-unquote black band is Mint Condition, but they've been around over 20 years, so they're technically not a new band. So my question I throw out there is, where are the R&B bands of today? Because the majority of the R&B artists are solo artists. And if they're not singing, they're rapping or creating beats, which is great. But we need some young black guys that's gonna get together and put together a band. A drummer, guitar player, keyboard player, singer. Where is that? I mean, I hope that style of music is not dying, because rock music is still producing great bands and great solo artists. So my question that I throw out there is, where are the R&B bands? But getting back to Clinton, you know, again, very creative, very unique artist. We appreciate the contributions that he has given us musically. We love his music, the concepts. And I guess on that note, I'm going to sign off. And I hope that this has been informative and entertaining. And until next time, thank you.